The age of relics is over, and the old rigid ways are superseded by a higher form of intelligence. A new era of data democracy has begun, the era of agility, ease, and true collaboration. This is the age of Naviloq, a turning point in data-driven business management and a unique navigation solution for growth journeys without borders. The new interactive generation of business intelligence and planning is here. Finance-focused, self-serving, and centralized. Naviloq, United Intelligence.
Welcome everyone to today's webinar on how our next generation BI planning solution Naviloq can help to empower business control. My name is Mikko Kurki and I have the privilege of being your host today. On the agenda, a brief introduction on Naviloq, followed by a demo displaying some of the more interesting functionalities that Naviloq has to offer to business controllers. We have reserved some time also in the end for your questions, but please do feel free to start submitting them already during the webinar, and we will be covering all of them at the end. But without further ado, what is Naviloq? It is a finance-focused BI planning solution for growth companies developed by Staria. It's the perfect solution for mid-sized scaling businesses that require agile financial reporting, as well as collaborative business planning that actually delivers actual insights within days and not weeks. It's made to serve and empower all users in the organizations, but there's one user group that, according to studies, stands out in particular as the primary user of BI, and that is namely finance professionals. Traditional BI tools have missed the mark when it comes to serving the needs of finance and also management reporting in general. Naviloq is here to finally address this gap, bring you all the most frequently requested features built in it as standard. Stuff like easy to customize management P&Ls, comparing actuals versus forecasts, rolling 12-month figures, multi-currency support, possibility to have allocations in place, and the list goes on and on. Naviloq also natively recognizes concepts important to finance, like fiscal years and reporting periods. So gone are the days when finance professionals had to choose between ease of use and functionality. With Naviloq, you don't need to compromise. With Naviloq, you don't need to care about the technical complexities either, since we have done the heavy lifting for you and pieced all the necessary elements together. And to begin with, we are introducing a no-code BI that can be used to carry out both financial and operational reporting analysis without any technical skills, making insights accessible to everyone essentially. And secondly, we believe or regard that planning is a very much a core component of next generation BI. You need the ability to look into the future, and we are bringing agile and customizable budgets, forecasts, and scenarios to the same shared cloud platform. Thirdly, we're offering a built-in data warehouse to hold all the data from different source systems. So you can input data from any data source, and we offer pre-built integrations to the most common accounting software and ERPs. So although we are finance focused, we are certainly not finance restricted by no means. And with the data warehouse, you'll be able to keep your data safe and organized, so it's always ready for your organization's reporting. And this will be the bedrock on your growth journey. And finally, and perhaps the most important aspect, is the ability to share insights with everyone on the same platform. You can attach your findings directly into chat groups within Naviloq, and you can ask specific users to comment on them. And through all of this, we like to state that Naviloq gives you united intelligence, and we will be covering all these aspects during the demo in this webinar. Here to mention some of our integrations, we have made over 50 of them so far. We are always happy to create custom tailored ones for each customer case, so you can make sure that you'll have access to all the necessary data that you have within your organization. And here listed some of our existing customers, currently over 70 of them in Europe. But now it's time to move on to the demo itself, where we'll be going through an imaginary scenario or a setting where the business control function is actually being approached to solve a certain issue, why the organization is lagging behind budgeted EBITDA during this reporting period. Let's see how Naviloq can assist with that. So now that I'm logged in, I can immediately see my home screen, and there's a message waiting for me from my colleague regarding the budget comparisons. If I click the message, I will be taken immediately to the dashboard that my colleague's question is about, and he has actually highlighted a certain report displaying the monthly EBITDA compared to budget. And the question for me is that, could you please explain why September EBITDA is behind the budget? So let's see. Indeed, we are slightly behind the budget during this reporting period. And I don't want to find the reason now why. We could always start drilling down into transactional level and start creating individual reports to do the analysis. But why bother really? Because Naviloq can actually assist us and make our lives really, really easy when it comes to that. I can actually drill through any data points, and we have multiple different pre-built analysis functions that can actually provide insights for us. I'm going to start by using the drill down analysis, which will break down the company level EBITDA for me, first displaying the total EBITDA, and I can actually change the comparison period. We had a question regarding the budget, so instead of showing previous period or previous year, I can actually compare this to our budget. There we go. And I've actually broken down the total per our business units. So let's see if we can find the culprit here. So all the other business units seems to be doing quite okay compared to budget, apart from organization BA. We can see that their EBITDA is actually behind budget. So we've made our first discovery, and I want to actually examine organization BA more closely. I'm going to add it to filters, and let's see actually which part of their P&L is actually causing the change in EBITDA compared to budget. Do we have a top line issue, or what is going on? I want to actually analyze this per account group level. So I'm just going to add this to our analysis. And now we have actually broken the P&L for this particular business unit per account group. And we can see that we definitely have a top line issue where the total turnover is actually behind budget, and all the other parts of the P&L are more or less on the budgeted level. But what is actually causing the change compared to budget in total turnover? We could keep on going through the drill down analysis, but Naviloq can actually answer and explain changes for us automatically using algorithms. And I'm going to do that next. So I'm going to go back to the dashboard, and I'm going to filter organization BA. And I'm going to drill down on from the revenue graph. And I'm going to use the explain change functionality, and I will ask Naviloq to explain the change for me. I can ask Naviloq to explain changes for me compared to previous periods, for example, previous year. And in this case, again, the question was about the budget. Let me just switch the comparison to be the budget. And this is the result that the algorithms found out. So the total change is actually coming from these customers, for example, and from these cost centers. I can actually add this to my highlight, and I can share my findings already within the finance team chat group, and I can answer my colleague that changes are coming from business unit BA and from the attached customers and cost centers. we'll start creating a dashboard for monitoring. So I can attach my analysis here, and then my colleague can actually view the findings that I made. And I can also inform him via email that I've actually replied to him in the chat. I'm just going to post this. And this is just one example how we can actually communicate on the same platform using Naviloq and have a really proper dialogue about one set of numbers. But as promised, I thought that I'd create a dashboard to monitor more closely the performance of organization BA. And let's see if we're able to create a dashboard for the operational business so they can actually keep an eye on the future performance. And let's see if we'll be lagging behind budget in the coming months as well. And I'm going to go ahead and start creating a new dashboard. I'm going to give this a name, just simply Organization BA. I'm going to post this in the business unit workspace. And for now, I'm just going to grant access to all of our super users for now. I hit save. I'm going to name the dashboard page to be an overview, like so. And then the first thing I want to do is just add a couple of filters to be applied to this dashboard page. So the first filter to be added is the business unit. I want this dashboard to display only Organization BA, so I'm going to do that. And a reporting period filter might also prove out to be useful. And while I'm thinking ahead, I might as well also add the planning version filter. We'll get back to this later on. You'll see why this is needed. So now I have my filters in place, and I'm going to go pre-select a default filter to be applied to this dashboard, namely Organization BA. And I might as well add September as a default month to which this dashboard will be open to. And save again. So, but let's start adding content to our dashboard. I thought we'd start with the mother of all reports, a basic management P&L. So really core and essential stuff. So I'm going to click add, and I'm going to enter the visualization library. And under here, our super users in the environment have created us a visualization category called operative reports. And these are just pre-built reports that we could use to in business unit level reporting, and we can just use these as a starting point for building our dashboard. So here we have some sort of P&L already. I'm going to go ahead and add this, and it is just a short version of a P&L, only showing the period actuals. But we're not really satisfied with this, and we want to tweak this a little bit. We might want to see some more comparison values here, for example, and maybe some different margin calculations. So I'm going to go ahead and click edit, and this opens the edit mode for this particular visual. And everything happens clicking through the UI. So absolutely no coding is needed in order to apply changes to the content in Naviloq. And you'll see in a minute that if you're capable of using Excel, you're already more than well equipped to use Naviloq. Here, we have a bunch of different pre-built measures in our out-of-the-box data model, profit and loss. And again, you can see really core essential stuff for finance professionals and controllers, especially stuff like period actuals, comparisons against budgets, and so forth and so forth. So what we might want to do first, since we were lagging behind budget, we might want to add a comparison to our budget. I'm going to simply click this to be added to our values. I'm going to edit this a little bit, make the column a little bit wider, and this is actually a percentage comparison, so I'm going to change the formatting as well, like so. And then what else? Maybe we want to see cumulative actuals, and then also a comparison to cumulative budget. I'm going to tweak these a little bit as well, make the column a little bit wider here, as well as here. And let's display this as a percentage, like so. So already we have a nicer looking P&L ready with a bunch of comparisons. But now we might want to have some more calculations in place. So let's start with a simple example. I want to show the gross margin for this business unit. So I'm going to do that using a formula member. I'm going to create a calculated member using a wizard. So again, no need for typing in code. I'm just going to name this gross margin. And I'm going to select after which member on the P&L I want to display this. I want to show it after variable costs. And I can just simply select a function to be used in this calculation. Sum until is really, really useful in this case. So I want to sum until variable costs. And this is my formula ready. And there's my gross margin. And if we want to add something more here, we can add a gross margin percentage here as well. So similarly, I can go in and type in a name, gross margin percentage, show it again after variable costs, sum until variable costs divided by turnover. And I'm going to change the formatting to a percentage this time with 1 decimal in place. And here we have the gross margin added as well. We can go ahead and save this. You report as a organization BA P&L short. I'm gonna add it on for example, what should I use? Operative reports, for example, and grant super users access to this for now. I'm gonna click save, and now we have it ready. So we can actually go back to our business unit dashboard here that we decided creating, and then we have our P&L ready to be added. So we can just move content around freely and resize them any way we need. So and that's the first part ready. And since we had some issues with a few of our cost centers lagging behind budget for this business unit in particular, we might want to add a visual displaying those as well. And for this case, we were lucky to have something ready made for us, a turnovers budget per cost center. I'm going to go ahead and add it over here. But we also want to keep an eye on our year-to-date performance and monitor how well are we doing against our targets. And a card is actually a nice way to display that. So I'm going to go ahead and add that one as well real quick. Here is a year-to-date EBITDA versus budget card with a data bar displaying how far we're actually behind or in front of our target. I'm just going to move it a little bit upwards so that we're going to make some more space to this, like so. And it's also showing a difference calculation compared to our budget. Gonna hit save here once again. And move this up a little bit as well. So now we have some year-to-date comparison as well. But on top of year-to-date figures, trends are always naturally interesting, especially from the perspective of business control. And one of the most commonly requested things is to have some sort of a rolling balance in place displaying a trend, stuff like last 12 months. So we can actually go ahead and do just that. And we should have actually some sort of a revenue report here ready for us, monthly turnover current year. Gonna add that. And we can see that there's actually quite a lot of seasonality in the data. So we want to actually smooth that out. And the way to do it is actually to once again go into edit mode And instead of actually displaying period actuals, we want to display the rolling last 12-month figures. So I'm going to go ahead and get rid of the period actual here. And I'm actually going to create a conditional measure displaying the rolling 12-month figures. Just going to call this last 12-month turnover. Select the correct base measure to be applied. And then the cumulative type, instead of being a standard, we want to display just a rolling balance. And then this should be a cumulative by months. And actually how many months you get to choose. This time I want to show 12, but it could be anything, 6 months, 8 months, you get to decide. So really, really easy to create different types of rolling balances. I'm just going to go ahead and click save and apply this to my values. And here we have our LTM graph ready. I'm going to save this one as well. LTM revenue. Going to put this under operative reports again and grant access to super users and click save. And we can once again access our dashboard and edit the new report that we just made from our recent reports. And here we have it. Just gonna move this over here and make space for some of the new content. Okay, but already looking good. A lot of graphs added and also some trend information regarding this particular business unit and its overall revenue development. But from trends, we want to actually move on to forecasting. And it's nice to display actuals and data that has occurred in the past. But we really need to keep looking into the future. We can't affect what has happened before, but we can do something to prevent bad things from happening in the future. So let's first add a visual displaying our actuals and forecasted months compared to budget. And this way we can actually monitor the progress. So again, I'm going to go into operative reports and add it. And here we have a comparison report ready for us. And I'm going to just detach this from the reporting period filter because I want to keep displaying these months always, regardless of the dashboard filter. It's like so. And now we can actually create a scenario to be applied to the business unit in case. So we can easily see here on the visual, like our past performance and then the forecasted months for the remaining months during this fiscal year. So in this reporting period, we were actually lagging behind in budget on the EBITDA level. But what if we update our forecast based on that? Could we do something to remedy the situation towards the end of the year? But the beauty of Naviloq is to actually combine everything seamlessly into the same dashboard. So you might have already seen that when I click add, I have multiple different options of the content that I can add to the same dashboard. So I can, for example, add planning table visualizations on the same dashboard as all my other reports. So there are no artificial boundaries between the different functionalities within Naviloq. And this gives you like unparalleled levels of flexibility when creating new content. You can simply start building exactly what you want on a blank dashboard in each case. So I'm going to go and add a planning template for sales, and this time sales by cost center. I want to do that for this business unit on that level for now. And then we're actually ready to create a new forecast version that we can use for scenario modeling. So let's say that we want to create a scenario to see that what would happen if our cost centers were to increase their prices, let's say by 8%. So I can exit the edit mode in my dashboard, and we can already see what it looks like right now. And the next step is to create the new planning version that we can use in scenario modeling. So I'm going to go into my planning versions view. And here we can see all the existing versions. And I'm going to go ahead and click Create New. I'm going to give the version a name. For example, price increase 8%. And then the periods, just going to forecast the entire year of 2023, like so. And I want to allow inputs only starting from the 1st of October. And the planning modules that I want to be included are just product sales and profit and loss. I could have other ones, but for this purpose, I'm only interested in these two. And I don't need to start from scratch, since I can actually copy data as a starting point to my new version. And I want to start by adding the budget numbers as a starting point for this version. So the start date for copying data is the beginning of 2023, and the end date, the last day of 2023. I'm going to copy data from an existing version, that version being our budget. And then I can just map the different measures in my model. And we're good to go in terms of product sales. And then I'm going to do the same for profit and loss. So again, the same periods. Not the 1st of October, 1st of January. And from budget 2023. And I'm just going to map the different measures that we have. Quite a lot of them in this model. And now we're good to go, and we can start creating the data. And Naviloq has now actually processed it, and now the planning version is ready to be used. So now we can go back to our organization BA dashboard, and we can select the planning version, in this case, the scenario that we created. And we can start inputting data into it using the planning template that we added here in the end. So I'm just going to display the remaining months that we have. And now we've also entered an index function into this planning template. It's one of the default functionalities in Naviloq that you can actually use to easily increase or decrease numbers in your planning template. Index 100 keeping the data as it is when you started making changes. So you probably can already guess where this is headed to, but I want to increase each and every month by 8%. So I'm going to go ahead and type in an index of 108. And the data is ready to be saved. And now we can actually see in our visual what sort of a impact this might have had on the performance of this business unit. I'm just going to go ahead and detach this as well from the reporting period. Click save. And now we can just refresh the data, and the change has been applied to our forecast, showing that if we increase the prices, we will be actually able to catch the budget a little bit. But how we can, if we can see the effect on our total turnover right now, what about the overall EBITDA effect for the entire fiscal year? Well, in Naviloq, you can easily combine actual and forecast months, giving you a total forecast for the year. And we have actually card to display this. So we can actually then use that card to display how our planning version is actually affecting the overall total EBITDA. So I'm going to go ahead and make one final change into my dashboard. I'm going to add the one last visual here under operative reports, this one. And I'm also going to detach the reporting month here. Like so. And then I'm just gonna drag it here into the top of my dashboard, right next to my other card, just to make it a little bit nicer, like so. And I'm gonna keep the rest of it the same. Maybe I wanna actually make this a little bit larger so we can see the different changes in the numbers better. And that's now done. Gonna save this once more, like so, and exit edit mode. And now we can see the effect of the different versions that we created. So if we use our price increase by 8%, we're still not able to catch the overall EBITDA actuals plus forecast compared to our whole year budget. But we could do other scenarios as well. And I've actually prepared some other ones beforehand. So we might have a high case in place, which actually now displays that, yep, we're able to exceed the budget by over 7%, good. Or we could have a low case in place, and again, what that effect could be. And all this will also be displayed here on the total turnover. And we can always revert back to our budget. And again, now we have a fully functioning dashboard made fairly quickly that the finance professionals can actually use to monitor the business performance, and the operative business can also use to have more insights based on their business performance. But hey, that was the demo, and hopefully you found that insightful. But now it would be a good time to answer the possible questions that you might have had. So please feel free to start submitting them. There are actually quite many of them already. Let me just start going through them one by one. So bear with me a second. I'm just gonna make the chat window a little bit larger so I can make some sense of the questions. The first question is that is the data from accounting automatically imported in Naviloq? Great question. Indeed, it is. So we actually use scheduled data refreshes to import the data. You actually get to decide how frequently the data is being refreshed. And we also refresh all of your metadata. So let's say on top of your actuals, we refresh for your new accounts that you might have added, or if there's a new subsidiary added, we're able to refresh that one as well. And how well it works for corporations with different accounting software. Actually, really well. One of the most common use cases that we have is exactly when companies have multiple different accounting software in place and they need the place to actually consolidate all their data into one. So we have like multiple different pre-built integrations, as said, to the most common accounting software, and we can actually create new ones, and we can import data from all of them into the same place, and you can actually see all of your group reporting in one, although you might have several software in place, also be they abroad or within Finland or anywhere. So Naviloq is perfect in those cases, also for a group reporting perspective. And naturally, we're able to have multiple different types of charts of accounts in place. We can do those mappings from different accounting software. We can do consolidation and eliminations as well. So we've got that covered. Great question. And then how long is the setup period? So our standard pre-built content that contains a few different types of financial reports and planning templates. We're able to get up and running in just a matter of days. But then on top of that, we always customize the content based on customer needs. And then that can vary a lot. By calendar time, roughly on average, I'd say 2 months, 2 to 3 months, giving everything, including all the BI and planning customizations. So we're able to get a lot of things done fairly quickly. And yeah, another question actually about consolidation. Can we have indicative consolidation in this as well? Well, yeah, indeed you can. So we're able to do, group reporting, for example. The most simplest scenario would be that if you already have the eliminations coming through from your data source through an elimination subsidiary or whatever, we're able to bring all that data into one and then just show one subsidiary sheet to display your group level numbers, or we can do the eliminations for you. So we can do also a bit more heavier consolidation, if you will, and all sorts of manual adjustments that might be needed. Good. Any other questions? Just going to have a sip of water while I give you some time to think. If not, then feel free to also send me questions afterwards. Drop me a line, give me a call. You'll be able to find my contact information on the landing page. My email is mikko.kurki@staria.com. So I'm happy to take your questions. And if you're interested in having a demo, please be in touch. But otherwise, thank you for joining today's webinar. It was a pleasure having you all with us today, and have a great Thursday.